to another video. If I don't see you before the holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hopefully we'll see you guys after the new year. But I wanted to go ahead and talk on a couple of interesting subjects today. So first, where we're moving forward with the GT500 coming next season. And I also wanted to talk about the cams. So I've had them for about 3 years now. L&M NSR cams installed in the car. We installed them ourselves. Saw back, there's a whole playlist on it. It's pretty much, it's one of the bigger projects I've undertaken on this car, and more recently rebuilt the transmission, and she's been doing good, going to the strip pretty hard and doing good stuff. So first off, so where we're going to go next year. So put some thought into this of kind of where I want to go, because I do still want to get the car faster, but we did fairly squarely meet our goals running 1050s. The mile per hour suggests there's a lot more there. Stick shift cars on average, especially at this weight though, the mile per hour pretty good, but they don't really put down the same ETs as an auto car or a slightly lighter car. So we're trapping almost 140. We're at like 138, which is cruising down the quarter mile, but we're on 1050. So that mile per hour says we should be able to run like a 10.1. So we got to figure out maybe a little bit quicker shifting, and really we got to get the 60 foot down a little bit better. I have a low 1.5 60 foot, but if we can get the low 1.4s, we'd be pretty set to run pretty good. But if you guys saw last video, or a couple videos ago, we actually did wind up tweaking the rear axle again. It's undrivable tweak, but just a little bit. And that seems to be happening every time we do our launches that get in the 1.5. So it's kind of been a repetitive thing now. It's time to upgrade. So plan forward and pick up a set of 33 spline Moser axles. I was going to do the 35 spline kit, but I don't want a spool. And the spool for 33 spline, about $600. Spool for 35 splines, about $1,400 from Strange, and that's just asking too much. You're looking at $800 for the axles, $1,400 for that. 33 spline will do what we need. It's not that bad. That'll probably shave off about $1,000 off that upgrade. New rear gears and stuff like that. So that'll be rear end stuff. But yeah, so let's see what else we got right here. So we're gonna talk about the dyno sheet in a minute. I want to go over that for the cam stuff, but picked up a 2.4 Grip Tech pulley. These suckers are expensive. It was like $200. But good old 2.4 here. So it's time to turn it up. Originally, I was kind of concerned about turning this car up any more past where we are. However, I have some thoughts on that. So traditionally, it's understood in the GT500 community, 700 and 750 is like the end of your safe range. I'm starting to think that's really not quite the case. A lot of cars did blow up back in the early days, but I think it was a lot more to do with people being aggressive with timing on pump gas. I don't think they had the octane to support what they were doing. So a lot of people would tote, 7-something 100 horsepower and then make it in the summer, lower temps. Not so much lower temps, but everything was kind of kosher. Then run in the winter and freaking throw something. You'd have more boost, more cylinder pressure, detonation with 93, or just not running good octane in general. So I had very good luck with the boost so far. Ran pretty much all of the boost and no issues. So that's pretty good. A buddy of mine that I've been talking to, he's got a 2011 or 2012, I believe. He's running 2.4 pulley with butane, no problems. We just got to be a little bit more careful. I can't really, 100 octane it. I'm really going to go ahead and 5 gallons full can, make sure we have all the octane that we're good to go. Just put it well over 104. I think we'll be all right. So just be a little bit more careful on the octane side of things, but I think we'll be good. So what's really pushed me to go ahead and just send it with the 2.4 is the Gen 3R has been out for a while now and makes a lot of boost and a lot of horsepower on these cars, more than the 2.3 can push out. So seeing that we're at the 720 range with what we had, pretty sure we're going to be fine bumping it up a little bit. So that shouldn't be a problem. The cams also lower that boost pressure a little bit down. So while they're making more horsepower, boost pressure isn't super crazy. I think we're good. So that's pretty much all I had to say on that. And that's kind of the plan for next year. Let's go ahead and talk about the cams. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and give her a cold start. We're going to go for a quick little cruise, and then we'll get into the cam stuff. I'm going to pull up my computer. We're going to do a little bit of OBS. I want to talk about some charts that I saw. And if you're not here for the long term, long story short, cams do make more power. The L&M NSR cams in particular drop a little bit down low, pick it up on the top half, so it kind of shifts the whole RPM band up that way a little bit. You might be shooting yourself in the foot if you have a stock bottom end and a stock rev limiter. I rev my car at 6,500 RPM at the drag strip specifically, And I was doing some calculations, and in each gear, I'm in the gear longer above that threshold than I am out of it. So we're making a little bit less power on the gear shift than we would stock cams, but with the rest of the RPM limit, we're making more power. So I'll pull up that exact ratio in a little bit, but long story short, good for 6,500 RPM limit. But if you're doing like 60 to 130 street stuff and you're starting at a 40 roll at like 3,000 RPM, you're gonna be down on power for a bit until you get past around 5,300 RPM. So kind of depends what you're doing with the car. If you're shifting below 6 grand, probably gonna be down a healthy bit of power even with the cams than you would be otherwise. So let's go ahead and get a cold start in this thing, listen to her chop, and I go for a little cruise. Yet. It sounds pretty dang good. We got the forces on here, and yeah, she'll be chopping by the time we get back for sure as it idles down a little bit. Let's go ahead and hop in and go for a ride. So just wanted to go ahead and take the car a little bit. Trying a new camera angle. Let me know how you guys like it. Should be a little bit more in line with everything that I'm seeing. It does have a couple downsides though, so we'll see. But yeah, car feels good. Everything feels good. Just kind of cruising. I haven't taken the car out since honestly the last video almost 2 weeks ago, maybe almost 3 weeks ago now. And yeah, want to get out and kind of enjoy life a little bit. So GT500 feels good. We're gonna go ahead and probably go down a little spot and then we'll be back. So we're down in our cruising spot, trying to see if maybe we can do a pull. I don't know, we'll see. It's one of the few nice days we have out here to where it's not like super nasty out. It's nice 60 degrees. So it's been a while since we had something kind of nice like this out here. We'll see if anything hooks up though. I really don't know. The road is still definitely chilly and we had some rain the other day, so we'll see. We'll see if we do a little bit of something. Nope, very slick indeed. So yeah, punching second gear ain't gonna happen, that's for sure. See if we can get maybe a little dig in a little bit, but yeah, you know, every once in a while I kind of forget how much power Homegirl makes. Talking about down on power, we're talking, you know, maybe 15 horse. Nothing crazy, but it's enough. If you're looking for every last ounce with the cams and all that stuff. Woo. Definitely scooting, man. Good grief. I haven't been in this car in a while. She feels real violent for sure, but I realize we're going to be in the sun on the way back, so I don't think we're going to do anything crazy. Get some pictures and call it a day. Kind of a cool picture spot. You can hear everything chopping against the wind. Really against the walls. Sounds so damn good. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get some pictures. Hit some mud or something. That's unfortunate. But here we go. Alright, I think we snapped some pretty good shots of old girl. Freaking looking awesome. So, let's go ahead and get out of here. Head back to the house, talk about some camshafts. Made it back. Home girl sounds great. Chopping. Freaking badass, man. Hell yeah. Alright. Let's go ahead and turn this little carbon monoxide machine off and get inside. Alright, so what we have in front of us, this is from V&P. Obviously, this is from BJ McCarty's Christine, back when he did build motor with the L&M NSR cams comparison to stock motor. So obviously this is pushing out significantly more. He had a 2.3 on there, the same supercharger I have. His, I believe, was ported though. So it's ported. So the ported Gen 2R with a 15% and a 2.4 upper. So just kind of interesting. They also raised the compression just a little bit. So numbers aside, so the blue, so this line was, yeah, so this graph right here is the stock cams. Right up here, so we have blue is stock, and then red is aftermarket. So kind of what I wanted to show. Before looks like 5,000 RPM though, you'll notice stock cams are making more torque and more horsepower. So I wouldn't say it's a huge difference. If we're looking at right around here, probably about, I'd say about 30 to 40 horsepower right in here. So there's a fairly good difference right there, especially way down there at 3,000 RPM. That's pretty healthy. So stock power basically is coming up, and we're looking at blue line, and it lays over 6,500 RPM. It lays over around here, 6,000, and we get this shape. So that's kind of what I wanted to get at here. So we're looking at, stock cam profile. Then we go to the L&M NSR cams, and we do see a pretty significant pickup above about 5,500-ish RPM, 55, 53 right in there. So that's 55, so it's about 53 right here. So what I did is I went ahead and hopped into Copilot using Chat AI to figure this out for me, and basically saying I had to do some tweaking to get it right, but I took the transmission RPM ratios from Car and Driver. So this is for the GT500, 07, and you get 6 speeds. These are your gear ratios right here. So really only use first through fourth and the quarter mile, and that's what you're going to wind up with. So 297, pretty sharp gear split right here, 131, and then we have our 2 overdrive gears. Obviously I don't have a 331, so I changed that to 373 to get us some base numbers in here. Tire height 28 inches, 373. Transmission for first gear was 297, engine RPM 6,500, and I said this is our maximum mile per hour we're going to hit with this RPM, and basically stuck it into here. So this is what it spat out. So in first gear, because we launch around 4,000 RPM, so I just kind of put in a number in here. So that's the lowest I saw my RPM drop to, up to 6,500 RPM. The time spent above this RPM, 5,300 RPM, we're in that gear for 46% of the time. So a little bit less all the way up, you're going to be lower power than you would be stock out of the hole. Not really that great. But things do look up. In second gear, we're in it, so making more power than the stock cams for almost 70%. Third gear, we're making 80%. We're going to basically 80% of the time we're making it more than power than stock cams, and 92% for fourth gear. So almost all, as you can see, it shifts upwards a little bit. So we're almost making more power all the way in fourth gear, which is probably why the car is back halving so hard. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So what do you do with this information? Honestly, that's up to you. But if you're looking into camming your car with a stock supercharger, or as it was, a stock bottom end, stock rev limiter, or a 6,500 RPM limiter if it's bumped a little bit, then you probably want to look into a different set of cams. I think if I could have done this again, I probably would have gone with the Bren Speed cams. These guys, the Detroit Rocker cams, because he has a dyno video of these, and on his car, no video, definitely pricey, but they do have new springs and whatnot. But yeah, for his car, they made down here, there's a boost chart that they show, or a power chart rather, dynographs is what I'm looking for, and it picks up all the way across the whole RPM band. So instead of just picking up above 5,300, 5,500 RPM, it picks up across the whole RPM band, which is more ideal for a more closer to stock car. But yeah, so obviously you can see though on the top end, this thing would have continued to lay over up to 7,000 RPM and not been good. So where they do come into a huge play is when you just get built motor, and you can rev out. So this little blip is kind of silly. That tweaks these numbers quite a bit. We're really looking more closer to about 910 is what it made. I don't know what that blip is about, but it is what it is. So about 910, and we get that extra rev. So where my car cuts off is right here, which is my dynagraph looks like this. It looks, same straight line straight to the moon. It just is about to start tipping off at 6,500 and carrying some power out to 7,000. So let's see what happens. If we raise our max RPM to 7,000, what happens in the chart? Let's see what we get. Yeah. I don't care about the chart. Come on. So there you have it. So assuming that we're in there with the chart, obviously it doesn't. There's no 100% is 100%. So first gear, we're now looking at 60% better. Second gear, better, and then 100. So yeah, really what this car needs is a bottom end that can take 7,000 RPM, and we'd be golden. So might need to add that to the build list at some point. All right, so what does this mean for you? Well, if you're like me and you're having your car with a stock bottom end, you're looking to do cams, maybe shoot for something a little less aggressive than the L&M NSRs. So that's just my 2 cents. They still sound badass. They definitely drive good. It's making some decent horsepower, but if you're looking to maximize every little bit across the power band, well, you saw the same things I saw. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Basically do some research before you go ahead and pull the trigger. Other than that, I think we're pretty good. Pretty happy with how everything drove. The car felt good, cam sounded good, everything's nice and kosher, IITs are solid, still making some decent horsepower. So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video in the new year. Once we can get in the rest of our parts, and we'll go ahead and see how that goes. So I'll take it easy, guys. You take it easy as well, and have a good holiday season.